So last time we finished with factoring the greatest common factor. And this is like question number 5 in your homework 10. So if I have something like this, we're gonna factor, see, both of those, they have the same term, 7z minus 3. And that's what you're gonna factor out. 7z minus 3 is gonna be in front. And then inside the second set of parentheses, you're gonna put what is left. You're gonna put this minus this. So in the second set, I'm going to put z plus 9 minus, because it's a minus, I'm going to put parentheses z minus 8. And then I'm going to distribute this negative 1 in front. So it's going to be z plus 9 minus z, minus and minus, it's plus 8. And then z minus z cancel out is 0. 9 plus 8 is 17. So the second set of parentheses is just 17, and that's how you write the factor form. 17, you can put the number in front and then this. And that's how you get the answer, okay? So we're gonna continue from here. We're gonna do some more factoring, different ways of factoring. And the next question is about factoring by grouping. So we're gonna go over factoring by grouping. And this is how the factoring by grouping goes. So when I have to factor, let me make this a little bigger. If I have to factor this one, 4 minus 2x minus 30y plus 15xy. If I need to factor this, I'm gonna split it in groups. The first two and the second two make a group. So what I'm doing in my first group, I'm gonna factor the greatest common factor. So looking at my first group, 4 minus 2x, what they have in common? They have in common the number 2, right? So I'm gonna pull out 2. So technically divide by 2, both of those. So that will give me 2 minus x, right? That's how I factor the first group. Okay? So the first group is here, and this is the second group. So now I'm gonna focus on the second group. Second group, what they have in common? You have negative 30y plus 15xy. So both of those, they have 15 in common. So I'm going to pull out negative 15. And also both of those, they have y. So I'm going to divide by negative 15y. And the second one by negative 15y, because that's what I'm going to factor out. Negative 15y, I'm going to factor out. And then 30 divided by 15 is 2. Y and y cancel, right? And negative over negative, it's positive 2. Okay? Then here, 15xy divided by negative 15xy. 15 and 15 cancel. Y and y cancel. So I have negative y left. Okay? Everybody so far so good? So you factor the common factor in each of the groups. And then you're gonna, oh, sorry, this
I'm
is
sorry.
x.
The last one is
Yes,
X, right?
yes,
Okay.
that's what exactly I say. This is x, yes, thank you. Okay, so now what's happened is you have the same inside the parentheses, 2 minus x and 2 minus x. This always gonna be the same if you factor by grouping and if you don't make mistakes, okay? So these two should be the same, and that's gonna be the common factor. That's what you're gonna factor out, 2 minus x in front, and then what is left? 2 minus 15y, right? And that's how you factor, that's your answer. That's how you factor this by grouping. And I'm going to put the answer here. So parentheses 2 minus x, and another parenthesis 2 minus 15y. Close the parentheses, okay? So that's how you do this. Let's submit it. And we're done, okay? So that's how you do number 6, and then we're going to the next one is the same idea. So we're going to do groups, factor in each group, and then in parentheses it's going to be the same, pull it out, and that's it, okay? So you want to do one more? Let's do one more. So we're going to split this into groups. And in the first group, what they have in common? They don't have nothing in common, right? So in this case, we need to organize them. We need to kind of move them around, switch the terms, because looking at my this polynomial, there are 4 terms. Like these two have something in common, right? And these two have something in common. You see that? So you're gonna rearrange the polynomial. So you can have the first group is gonna be r squared minus 2tr. That's gonna be my first group. And then minus 10, or you can put 5 first, doesn't matter. Okay, let's put 5 first. Plus 5wr minus 10tw. Okay, so this is my first group, this is my second group. So from here, we're gonna factor in groups, by groups. So in the first group, what they have in common? They have r. So in the first group, I'm gonna divide by r both of those. That's the common factor, r. So I'm gonna pull out r, and let's see what is left. R squared divided by r is gonna be only 1r, minus r and r cancel, so 2t is left. This is the first group. And then in the second group, we have plus 5, because both of the numbers are divisible by 5. And what else we have in common here?
5 and w.
And w, that's right, good job. 5 and w is going to be the common factor. And then let's see what is left. These cancel, so I have only r left. Minus, see, 5 and 10 is going to be 2. W cancel, so it's going to be 2t. And again, we get the same in the parentheses, right? That's what you want to get, the same. And then you're going to factor it out, r minus 2t. And that's my first parenthesis. And then the second is r plus 5w. Okay, and that's my final answer. It's going to be exactly like that. Okay, and where we put the answer right here. Okay, so we're just going to enter the answer in this box, in the parentheses, in the box. I don't know why it's not getting in, but this is my answer. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to skip that. Okay, and then you're going to go, something's going on, my internet. Okay, let me just close this and go to number 8. Okay, there you go. Okay, so number 8, it's, what is it? Okay, number 8, they have me, again, factor by grouping, and I need to pick the right answer. So this is the same idea, okay? I'm not gonna do this again, it's the same way. Okay, everybody understand how to do the factor by grouping?
Yes.
Okay, and another factor by grouping, you wanna do that? Or let's see how many factor by grouping you have. So all of these are factor by grouping. Let's do this when you have plus and minuses. So this is like when you factor out negative, it's a little bit more interesting. So let's do that. I'm gonna do this one. Okay, so let's factor by grouping. So here we're gonna start with splitting 2 groups, right? We're gonna have those 2, and you're gonna have those 2. So looking at my first group, what they have in common? The numbers 9 and 24, obviously they have y, both of those. But 9 and 24, what you can factor out? Is it 3? Yeah, only 3, right? So you're going to pull out 3y. So I'm going to factor out 3 and y. And then what is left? 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then what is left? Y. There is one y in the bottom, so when you subtract 4 minus 1, it's going to be cube. And then minus y cancel. 24 divided by 3 is what? 8, right? So this is the first group. Now the second group, because you have minus and plus, and the signs here plus and minus, I'm going to factor negative. And then looking at the numbers, what numbers? So I'm going to factor negative what? What is the common factor for 6 and 16? Just 2, right? Yes, that 2.
Yes.
So I'm going to factor just 2 in front. And then what is left? Negative divided by negative, it's positive here. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Y cube stays. And then positive and negative, it's negative. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So we also get the same. Always when you factor by grouping, you should get the same inside the parentheses. If you don't get the same, something's wrong. So we have factored that out, 3y cubed minus 8 in front. And then what is left? 3y minus 2. And this is my answer. Okay? So we're going to just plug that in. So parentheses, I need them little exponent down here. Okay. So I have parentheses, 3y with exponent 3 minus 8. Oops. Close and open 3y minus 2. Okay, that's it. And you can just check the answer. Okay, that's good. And then going to the next one, it's trinomial. So let me explain how to factor trinomial. When you have 4 terms, you're going to do by grouping always. When you have 3 terms, we're going to factor in a different way. So this is how you factor trinomial. When you have 3 terms and when you have 1 in front of the square. So when it's trinomial, 3 terms, you're going to have 3 terms, and if first step is always factor greatest common factor. So you always do that, greatest common factor. Now in this case, they don't have nothing in common, right? We have square, we have t, and we have the number by itself. So what you're going to do, if the number is 1 in front of the square, this is the method to factor it. If the number is not 1, there is a little different method to factor. So this is the method when you have 1 in front of the square. This is the method. You're going to get the last number, 35, and you're going to get the factors of 35. So what is 35? 1 times 35, right? What else? 35 is not divisible by 2, so you cannot do 2 times something. Then 3, can you divide by 3? You divide by 3 if you add the digits and divide by 3, like 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 is not divisible by 3, so that means 35 is not divisible by 3, okay? Then divisible by 5 if it's entered 5 and 0, so you can do 5. 7 times 5 is 35, right? Then divisible by 6, you can use a calculator also. Divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5. If you get a whole number, is divisible. And these are the all factors of 35. 1 times 35 and 3 times 7. Now, what you do with this factor is you need to see which 2 factors add up to the middle number, 12. So 1 plus 35 is 36. 5 plus 7 is exactly 12. So these are the 2 numbers you need. 2 numbers you need to find. These are like 2 magic numbers. So you have to find those 2 numbers which multiply to the last number, to 35, and add up to the middle number, 12. Okay? And now what you do in those 2 numbers, you're just going to put x next to those numbers. So it's going to be x plus 5 because 5 is positive. If it's negative 5, it's going to be minus 5. But but it's a positive 5, and x plus 7. And this is how you factor it. X plus 5, x plus 7. Okay, everybody understand the method? So you need to get the factors of the last number, all the factors of the last number, and see which two of those add up to the middle number. And using those two numbers, you're going to just put x next to them, and that's your factor form. Okay, so you're going to get x plus 5 and x plus 7. Now here, what you can do, you can check your answer. I mean, I'll check it here, but you can check, oh, what's going on? This should be correct. Why is not correct? Let me see what I put. X plus 7, x plus 5. Oh, it's not x, that's why it's wrong. Yeah, it's t, sorry. Okay, so be careful with the letters. It's t plus 7 and t plus 5, t plus 7. Yeah, so be careful. Yeah, the letter is t. So you should put the letter, whatever the letter is, not x. I mean, I'm saying x because usually we're using x, but here we have t. So we're going to put t, whatever the letter is. Okay, and let's check it. And I'm going to show you the way to check your answer. See, that should be right now. Okay, that's good. Now let me show you how to check your work before you submit it. Okay, and this is another one. In a minute, we'll do another one. So this is how you check your work. If you FOIL this, if you multiply t plus 5, t plus 7, if you multiply t times t squared, right? T times 7 is 7t. And then 5 times t is 5t. And this term, this is 35. So when you FOIL, you're going to combine those two, it's 12t. And that's exactly what you're going to get. T squared plus 12t plus 35. And that was the original problem. So every time you factor, you can multiply and you can check your answer. Okay, everybody understand that? So let's do one more. The next one is this one. Any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. So the next one is the same way. Oops, I want to make it bigger so you can see better. Okay, so it's s squared minus 2s plus 9. So we're going to get, you have 1 in front. Double check that first. Should be 1. Then you get the factors of 9. What is 9? 1 times 9 and 3 times 3, right? Now, this number is positive 9 and they have to add up to negative 2, okay? So that means if they add up to negative, that means both of those could be negative also. So so it's a positive 9, but you can get positive 9. You can multiply negative 1 times negative 9. It will also give you positive 9, right? Or negative 3 times negative 3 also, right? So negative times negative is also positive 9. So actually you have all these 4 different combinations to get positive 9. Now, which one of those add up to negative 2? None of those add up to negative 2, right? Because negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6, negative 1 plus negative 9 is negative 10. None of those add up to negative 2. So that means this is a prime. You can't factor this. Prime means you cannot factor. Okay? Everybody understand that? But
Yes.
before you conclude it's a prime, make sure you check it. Okay? Any questions? Everybody understand this? Oops. Okay, going to the next one, which is another trinomial. Okay, let's do that real quick. I'm gonna just do a few of those. So we have W, it's 1 in front, W square. And so you're gonna get the negative 48, and you're gonna get all the factors. It's a negative. That means one is positive, one is negative factor. So you have 1 times 48, 2 times, you can divide by 2. So it's, what is that? 24. Then you have 3 times, what is 48 divided by 3? It's 16, right? You can divide by 4 also. 4 times 12. You can divide by 5. You can divide by 6. 6 times 8, right? Then by 7, you can divide by 7. So the next one is 8. And 8 times 6. So you're already done. So these are all the factors. Okay, if you get to the 8 times 6 and 6 times 8, that means that's all. These are all the factors. So now looking at those factors, one of them should be negative, and also the middle number is positive. That means the bigger number is positive and the smaller number is going to be a negative. See, negative 1 times 48 is negative 48, but if I add negative 1 plus 48 is going to be a positive 47, right? So which one of those two numbers are going to add up to positive 2? Which one? These two, right? 8 minus 6 is 2. So these are my magic numbers. So what I need to do is just put the letter W next to the number. So it's going to be W minus 6 and W plus 8. And this is how you factor completely. Okay, so I'm going to put it like that. W minus 6 and then W plus 8. Okay, so that's how you do that. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay, the next one is the same way, but you have B and Y. So let's do that. So when you have B and Y, we're going to do pretty much the same way. So let me show you how to do those. So here we're going to pretend for a minute that you have B squared and you have Y squared. And in the middle have B and Y. So for a minute, I'm going to pretend that I have only B. So I'm going to factor B squared minus 6B minus 16. So what I'm doing, I'm going to do the same. Get the factors of the last number, negative 16, and get all the factors. So it's 1 times 16, right? 2 times 8, 4 times 4, right? 16. Now, it's a negative, so one of those is negative, but the middle is negative 6, so that means the bigger number is negative. So it's going to be like this, okay? So which two numbers add up to negative 6? See, 1 minus 16 is negative 15. 2 minus 8 is exactly negative 6, right? And 4 minus 4 is 0. Okay? So these are the two numbers I'm going to use to factor. So I'm going to get B minus 2, I'm sorry, plus 2, because it's a positive, and B minus 6, I'm sorry, 8. Now, what you're doing here, remember we forget about the Y. We have to put the Y now, and this is why you put the Y. You put the Y next to the number here. Okay? So you put Y next to these numbers, you put the Y. And if you FOIL this, you're going to get B squared, right? But if you multiply those two, it's going to be minus 16 Y squared. And the middle one are going to have B and Y. Minus 8 BY and plus 2 B and Y. And when you combine those, you're going to get exactly the original problem, okay? So that's how you factor it. So forget about the Y first, the second letter. Do it with the same way we did it, and then put the Y in the end. Okay, like that. And if you want, you can check that. Okay, so that's how you factor trinomials. And here you have another one with C and W. So forget the W, do it only with C and then put W next to the letter, okay, to the numbers. That's how you do the same way this one. Yes, everybody good with that? So I'm gonna just go to the next one. It's binomial. So this is another factoring. See, this is another way to, another different way. I'm gonna show different method of factor binomial when you have two terms. So let me just kind of review factoring. So this is what you have. When you have to factor something, the first step is factor the greatest common factor. That's what you're gonna factor first, the greatest common factor. Then you're gonna see how many terms you have. If you have two terms, that's what you have right now in number 16. You have two terms, right? I'll show you how to do it. If you have three terms, you're going to do trinomial. That's what we just did, right? You get the last number, you get the factors of the last number, which add up to the middle number, okay? And then when you have four terms, you're going to do factor by grouping. Okay, you're going to split it in groups and you're going to factor by grouping. Okay, so these are the methods of factoring. So let me show you two terms. When you have two terms, it's really easy. Usually I'm going to give it to you like a formula. You have two terms and you have difference of squares. So usually you have something square minus something else square. Okay, if it's minus in the middle, you can factor it, and these factors like a minus b and a plus b. This is how you factor it. So a and b are pretty much square root of the first term and square root of the second term. So what is square root of w square? It's, I'm sorry, v square. It's v, right? So I'm going to put v minus square root of 4 is 2. So it's going to be v minus 2 and v plus 2 with opposite signs. And that's my answer. Now, what's happened if I have plus in the middle? If you have plus in the middle, it's a prime. You can factor it. Okay? So these are the methods of factoring. Everybody understand that? So I'm going to put parentheses v minus 2 and v plus 2. That's it. You got it? That's it. Okay, the next one is the same idea. You have two terms with minus, so I'm going to take square root. Okay, there you go. So what are the, when you take square root of 16s squared, what is that? 4s. Minus, it's a minus, so I can factor. Square root of 49 is 7. And then the same with plus, 4s plus 7, that's it. Okay? That's how you put it there. Everybody understand that? Okay, that's it. And then the next one is the same way. You have trinomial. We have three terms. So you're going to get the factors of 36, which add up to negative 12. And then the last one is another with two letters, s squared and g squared. So you're going to do that. Okay? Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Let's see, number 20.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 20, it's, okay, number 20, it's 3 cube. So let me give you the formula for cube. Remember when it's a square, you can, oh, I can go back there. Okay, so when it's a square, you have a squared minus b squared. Here we have a different formula if it's cube. So you have x cube and b cube. So the formula for cube is this, a cube minus b cube is a minus b. So we're going to take cube root to get a and b. And then a squared plus ab plus b squared. So that's how you factor it. So here, if I want to do this one, I'm going to take cube root to get a and b. Because a cube, when I take cube root, it's going to give me a. So cube root of 8 is 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then cube root of x cube is just x. That's my a, minus. Now, when I take cube root of 27, it's 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, and b. So this is my a, this is my b in this formula, okay? And then I'm gonna write that in front, and then I'm gonna have 2x, the first one square, minus, plus 2x times 3b plus 3b squared. And then we have to simplify this inside. So 2x squared is 4x squared, right? You square both. And then here you multiply 2 times 3 is 6xb plus, you're going to square both of those again, 9b squared. So this is the what you have simplified, and in front you're going to have 2x minus 3b. So this should be your final answer down here, okay? So that's what you're going to put in the answer box. So it's going to be 2x minus 3b, and then you have 4x squared plus 6xb plus 9b squared. And then you're going to close the parentheses. Okay? And we're going to check it, and it's fantastic. Okay? Everybody understand that? So that's how you do factoring. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you how to factor by grouping. I'm going to show you how to solve equations by factoring. That's what I meant. Sorry. I don't know why I said grouping. Okay, so this was homework 10, where this homework teach you how to factor. And then the next homework is, let's clear this so I can see better. So the next, that was homework. Let's go to the next homework. And we're going to go to homework 11. So homework 11, it's about solving by factoring. Okay, so solving by factoring, this is how you do it. You're going to have equation. So you're going to factor first, and then you're going to solve each of the factors equals 0. Okay, so this is how you do it. I'm going to do number 1. So first I'm going to factor it. Okay, so how you factor? We're going to get the common factor. All these numbers are divisible by 6, right? So I'm going to pull out, 3. I'm going to factor out 3. So pretty much divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, all of these numbers. So I'm going to get n squared minus 51 divided by 3 is 17, n plus 156 divided by 3 is 52. And we have equals 0. So now this is the difference between solve by factoring and factor. When it's equals 0, when it's equation, you have to factor it, and you have to find what n is equal, okay? You don't just get parentheses, you have to finish it, and I'll show you how to do that. So first I'm gonna factor inside. We have no more common factors. Now we have to see how many terms. You have 1, 2, 3 terms. So I'm gonna factor trinomial. So I'm gonna get the factors of the last number. So we're gonna start with 1 times 52. Then it's gonna be 2 times, you're gonna divide by 2, 52 divided by 2 is 26. 5 plus 2 is 7, so you can divide by 3. 52 I can divide by 4. Oops, I was going to say 4 times 13 is 52. You can divide by 5, 6. No, you can divide by 6. Number is divisible by 6 if it's divisible by 2 and 3. What else? 52, 8. Can you divide by 8? No. Divided by 9? No. 11, 12, and 13. So that's all. Now, positive 52. So all of those are positive. But looking at my middle number, it's negative. So that means both of those should be negative. When I add negative numbers, I'm going to get negative number, right? And when I multiply negative, two negatives are going to be positive. So that means all of the numbers are negative. Now, these are all the possible factors. Let's add them and see which two add up to negative 17. Can you tell me which two?
4 and 13.
Yes, these two, the last two. So these are my magic numbers, and I'm just going to put n next to the numbers to factor. So careful, the letter is n. So it's going to be n minus 4, n minus 13, but it's equal 0, and I have that 3 in front. We have to bring the 3 down. So this is how you factor. You have 3 times this equals 0. Now here we're using zero product property, which means if you have product equals 0, that means you can set each of the factors 0. So I'm going to solve 3 equals 0, this equals 0, this equals 0. Now 3 equals 0 is not going to give me solution because 3 is not 0. There is no n to give me answer, so we're not worrying if there's a number only in front. But if I have 3n, then it's going to give me answer. So here 3 doesn't give me answer. Now when I solve n minus 4 equals 0, I'm going to add 4 in both sides, and I'm going to get my answer, n equals 4. That's my first solution. Then I'm going to solve n minus 13 equals 0. So you set all of these factors equal 0. You're going to add 13, and you're going to get n equals 13. So these are my two answers. And it says use comma separate as needed. So we're going to just put the numbers like that. 4, 13. Okay? Everybody understand how we solve that? So we factor it, and that was right. We factor it and then solve each of the factors equals 0. Okay? And here we do this the same way. You factor 2 in front and then factor it again. So I'm going to skip that. It's again factor and then solve each of those 0. Here we have another one. Okay? And then this is the same way. So we're going to factor 3 in front and do the same. And this is the same way, factor 4, do the same. This is another one, factor 3, solve it the same way. Let's do this one, it's a little different. So for this one, we're gonna move everything in the same side. So remember, when you factor, when you solve by factoring, have to be equal 0. So first I'm gonna start x squared equals 4x. I'm gonna move the 4x over to be equal 0. So I'm gonna subtract 4x first. So we're going to get 0 equals. Now, x squared and 4x, they're not like terms. You can combine. So you're just going to copy them. Okay? So I have x squared minus 4x equals 0. And then from here, we're going to factor. How you factor those two? You're going to look for common factor. What is the common factor? Both of those have x's, right? So you're going to pull out 1x. That means I'm going to divide by x both of those. And what is left? 1x cancel, so I have x minus 4, right? This cancel, equals 0. So when you factor it, again, you're going to do zero product property. We're going to set x equals 0 and also x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, now here x equals 0, it's a solution. That's my answer, x equals 0. Okay, and then we're going to add 4 in both sides to solve this. And you're going to get x equals 4. And this is my second answer. Okay, so here we have two solutions, x equals 0, comma, x equals 4. Okay, everybody understand that? So it's the same idea, just move the x over so you can have it equal 0. This is the same way, okay? Move the 13x and you're going to get the same. You're going to solve it the same way. Okay, here it's already solved. It's already solved. You already have factor, you just have to finish it. Okay, so this is really easy. You're just going to solve 7n minus 3 equals 0 and then minus 7 equals 0. Because it's already factor, see? You have it factor already. So you're going to solve 7 n minus 3 equals 0. And also n minus 7 equals 0. I'm going to add 7 here. And you're going to get 7. N equals 7 is the first answer. And the other one, you're going to add 3. And you have 7n equals 3. And then you're going to divide by 7. And you're going to get n equals 3 over 7. So I'm going to leave it as a fraction and integer. See, it says use comma to put the answers and enter integer or fraction. Simplified fraction, okay? So we're going to leave your answer like that. You can put 7 comma and then 3 over 7 like that. Okay, and let's check that. Okay, excellent. Okay, everybody understand how to solve it? This is already solved. We just have to finish it. It's already factored, you just have to finish it. Okay, and then you have another one here where you have to factor, solve each of the factors equals 0. The same idea, the same way. Okay, then another one, factor, solve each of the factors equals 0. And then another one, factor, solve each of the factors equals 0. Okay, let's do this one. It's a little, it's not the square first place, but you're gonna do the same way. So let me do this for you. We're gonna, because it's an equation, I can move it around and I can put negative v squared in front, plus 2v plus 8. I can put it in this order equals 0, right? Because we're used to having it squared, number, v and number. And then what I'm going to do here, this negative should be positive 1, right? So I can just divide the whole equation by negative 1. Everything by negative 1. Okay? And you can do that. You can because it's an equation, you can multiply both sides by negative 1, right? It doesn't change the equation. So when you divide by negative 1, you technically divide each of those by negative 1. Both sides. So negative over negative is positive v squared. Positive and negative is negative 2v. Positive is negative 8. Equals 0 divided by anything is also 0. And then you go from here. Get the factors of the last number, which are 1 and 8, 2 and 4. That's it. And then negative, so 1 is negative. The bigger is negative because the middle is negative. And then which add up to negative 2, these two. So you factor v plus 2 and v minus 4, equals 0. And then solve each of those equals 0. V plus 2 equals 0. And v minus 4 equals 0. And you're going to do opposite to move it. So it's going to be negative 2 is the first one. And you're going to add 4 here, always positive. So it's just going to be positive 4. So these are my solutions. And you can just put them negative 2, comma 4. Okay? So that's how you do this one. It was good. And the next one is the same way. Actually, this is a little different. I'm going to help you with this one. Okay. Let's clear this. So this is a little different. I'm going to do 12. Let me double check 13. 13 is the same. Move the 4p over. It's going to be the same. This is the same. And this is the same. So I'm just going to go over 13. It's a little different. Okay, this one. Everything else is the same. So this is going to be pretty much the last one, or if you want me to go over something else. Okay, so this is how you do it. We're going to look at, see, the number in front is 5. That's why it's a little different. And I cannot factor out 5 because 22 is not divisible by 5. So this is how you do those when you have a number in front of the square. So what you need to do first is you're going to multiply. It's called AC method. When you have 3 terms and there's a number in front, you're going to multiply 5 times 21. So 5 times 21 is what? It's, 5 times 21 is 105. So you're going to get 105 and you're going to do the same way. You're going to get the factors of 105, which add up to the middle one, to 22, positive 22. So that's how you do it. So 105, what are the factors of 105? 1 and 105, right? 1 times 105 is 105. Oops. Okay, this is divisible by 5, so it's going to be 5 and 21, right? Okay. What else? Let's see. You can divide by 3 also. I'm sorry, I missed the 3. Because 5 plus 1 is, so 3 times 105 divided by 3 is 35. Okay. What else? You can divide by 6 also. Oops. 105, 6. No, it's not divisible by 6. Not divisible by 3, by 4, no. 5, 6, no. 7. 7 times 15. Okay. 7, 8, no. 9, no. And 10, no. Okay, so that's it. So these are all the factors of 105. So be careful, just use your calculator to divide. Like divide by 1, divide by 2. I mean, obviously 1 and 2, it's easy, and 3. But divide by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, till you get to 10, pretty much. Okay, so these are all the factors. Which two add up to 22? 7 and 15, right? So these are the two magic numbers you're going to use. So now this is how you factor it. Okay, when you have a number in front. So you're going to put c plus 7 and c plus 15, the same way you do if you don't have, if you have 1 in front. Okay, but because you multiply by this 5 in front, we're going to divide the two numbers by 5. Okay, and you can reduce, like 15 and 5, you can divide by 5, give you 3. If you can reduce, you move the 5 in front. So you actually factor it like 5, c plus 7, and c plus 3. So that's how you factor it, and it's equals 0, right? It's equation. So everybody understand this method? So this is called AC shortcut. This is the shortcut I show you. There is another method which is called AC by grouping, which is a little longer. I can show you that if you want. But this is how you do it. And then from here, you're just going to solve each of the factors equals 0, and you're going to get your solution. subtract 7, and then divide by 5. So this is my first number, and here you're gonna solve c plus 3 equals 0, subtract 3, and c equals -3. So these are my two answers, okay? Everybody understand this method, or you want me to show another one?
I think this one is
I'm
good.
sorry?
I think this one is good.
This is good? Okay, thank you. So that's how you do all these homeworks. If you guys have any questions, let me know. So this is for today. This is for your homework. I'm gonna stop the recording. If you have questions, let me know